Welcome back to another episode of Raving and Reviewing. My name is R, and this is my co-host V.
Hey guys, what's up?
We're going to be talking about another episode of WandaVision, episode 6, an all-new Halloween Spooktacular. The first thing I say, I really like the name. That's like a cool...
Spooktacular?
Yeah.
Very sitcom-y name.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
The Halloween episode, I kind of wish we could seen this in October.
Yeah.
This would have been perfect. Like, this show originally was supposed to come out earlier in the year if things weren't delayed.
Is it because of the pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, everything was pushed back, but I think this show would have definitely been timed to like air on Halloween.
Yeah.
That week or sometime in October would have been great.
Oh, that'd be awesome. This had such a nice like early October, or I mean late October, like fall-y time. Like I liked it. It took me back to like school days.
Yeah, definitely. This is perfect. 90s, 2000s, which I guess we have some issues with.
That's still debatable. I have some issues with that.
Yeah, I mean, this episode, I guess, first we'll start with, was based on Malcolm in the Middle.
Right, which started airing in 2000. So I know you think that this counts as, I mean, Wikipedia actually thinks that too. It counts as late 1990s to early 2000s, but it was clearly Malcolm in the Middle. I mean, we called it as soon as we saw it, as soon as we saw the title track. So there's no debate in what sitcom it's actually following. But I mean,
it's not just following one sitcom. It's just the theme song was based on one sitcom.
I know, but what else was it from the 90s that it rang in your head that, oh, this is like this show from the 90s?
Nothing comes to mind. No, I mean, just Malcolm in the Middle. But I mean, I feel like what they're doing is like 1995 to 2005, kind of maybe.
But this wasn't aired in the 1990s. It aired in the 2000s. It started the first episode.
What if they're doing like the 95 to 2005? I mean, it's not perfect. They're not. The release dates aren't perfect.
I guess.
I mean, I don't mind. I don't care. I mean, I don't mind. Whatever it was something different than last week.
It was. And in last week in Wikipedia, it was Family Ties, and that they were saying it was early, or it was 1980s to early 1990s. So they're saying that Family Tie might have, and that actually could be it, right? That maybe Family Tie ended in like 1990s, around that.
Yeah.
And maybe they just counted that as the 90s show.
I mean, honestly, I think what it is go ahead.
Family Ties actually ends right before it hits the 90s. So they skipped the 90s completely because Family Tie, it ended in 1989.
I mean, maybe they didn't want to do 90s. Maybe 90s is overrated.
Maybe everybody expected Full House, and I know Emily Olsen didn't really want to.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, I feel like there is some... I think early on someone maybe interviewed her and we're like, yeah, we're kind of avoid any Full House references here.
Yeah, I mean, this is, her show, her time to shine. I don't think she wants to be compared to her sisters who, didn't act, I think, past 2010. They haven't done anything because they're into fashion now. So it's fair. It's a fair point. But I mean, there's so many other shows you can pick from.
Yeah, I mean, that's just because she's in the family you'd want it to be Full House, but
yeah,
it's fine. I was happy with Malcolm in the Middle. I think they did a great job.
I was okay with it. Yeah, I was okay with it.
I think that like the Quicksilver, I'm forgetting her name, for his name. Pietro was the oldest brother in Malcolm in the Middle, I guess.
Yeah.
I was like, I haven't seen that show in so long.
That was the other thing. I think I've seen bits and pieces of it. So it wasn't something that, like, I knew of the show, and I know, like, the mom, she always stands out to me because everyone always says she's kind of, like, the most interesting character. And then Frankie Muniz, I saw him in other stuff, so that made me interested in, like, anytime Malcolm in the Middle was on, I'll keep it on because I recognize him from, like, Agent Cody Banks.
Yeah.
So I would leave it on just to see. That's a good movie. I mean, it's a good movie from that time.
Can't forget the dad in this, Bryan Cranston.
Yes, that's right. He was
known for Breaking Bad.
He's pretty famous now, which is, I
guess,
I mean,
he's huge. I mean, he was in Seinfeld. and he's a
Really?
reoccurring character. He's like a dentist in Seinfeld,
Did not know
and
that.
yeah, and then I guess this show he's doing sitcoms. And then you got the serious stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
And now he's been doing movies, and he's like a bigger star than he was in the 90s, so
yeah, it's like
early
wait, when are we getting
2000s.
him in the MCU?
You think? He's big enough. I would see that. I could
I
see
mean,
that.
everyone wanted him casted as Lex Luthor for Batman, but because I mean,
Really?
because his bald head was perfect. Because like
From Breaking
his
Bad.
iconic, yeah, his iconic look. It's like that's a Lex Luthor kind of look.
Well, how do we always end up talking about DC and all of these?
I mean, I have plenty to talk about DC.
I know. I'm wearing a Flash shirt right now.
Uh,
Not by choice. It's
yeah,
laundry
Flash is
day.
good. Flash is good.
It is. I don't mind Flash.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about the Snyder cut,
I haven't seen it yet, but I think we watched the trailer on
I watched the
something
trailer
today.
today, but I don't want to talk about that till the
Okay.
end. Maybe at the end. I'll 5 minutes on.
Maybe. I didn't watch all of the trailers, so I don't know yet.
Okay, well, save it for next time.
Okay. All right, so let's get back into the episode. Some of the key points for you. What did you like about the episodes?
I like that Quicksilver's pointing things out, and he's like, "Oh, what happened to your accent?" That's my favorite line. Favorite
Yeah,
thing about him.
I remember. Yeah, and as soon as he said that, I literally repeated, "What happened to yours?" Because I think last episode
Yeah.
we talked about her accent was kind of coming back when she got
Mhm.
out of the hex.
Yeah.
So I like that they're kind of pointing that out because they never addressed that in like the movies in Avengers, and
They don't have time for that.
they
I
don't.
like that they have like room to like everything we question post episode. The next episode, the following episode, has an answer or
Yeah.
like a somewhat of like someone is also thinking the same thing, which I really like.
I like that they kind of learn to understand what the audience is looking for in the
Mhm.
episode and kind of address it next.
Yeah.
And I think I liked in this episode, I liked that it was not as much sitcom. Like I think maybe the first 10ish minutes were
Yeah.
really deep sitcom, and then they started showing more of
Vision.
Sword and yeah, Vision. Vision was a really, really interesting character in this.
Yeah, I mean, I think what was it last episode? There was barely any Vision. Was one of the episodes barely any Vision? Yeah, he just goes to the office.
No.
Last week was he just goes to the office and figures things out. But there's very little Vision in that episode. It's more like the kids in the sitcom.
Yes.
And then Sword. And this one had like Vision finally gets his own like time to like explore the city now. Like he's self-aware. Norm.
Yes.
Last week he found out about Norm. This week
Yeah.
he's like something suspicious. And I guess the episode starts out if he's got the outfit and he makes the mark like this is the only outfit I got on in my room, so I have to wear it.
Yeah, so you can tell that he's almost like he's still upset from the last episode, right? Like when we left him from the 80s rather, you could tell that, you know, towards the end there, he wasn't happy with Wanda because he had figured out what's going on.
I mean, there was no resolution. It kind of
there was none, right? Because she rolled
like
the
brother
credits.
brother comes in and just, hey, what's up, popsicle?
Yeah.
Or who's the popsicle? And
who's the
like,
popsicle? Yeah.
And that's like now seeing that there was a reference to Quicksilver in Days of Future Past. He's eating a popsicle when he's first Logan X-Men come to find him. It's
right. Fun. Yeah. The Marvel's great with that stuff. And yeah, I think it was interesting to see how he didn't want to play by Wanda's rule, right? So in the beginning, it's Halloween, like we said. So let's talk about Wanda's outfit. Now, is that her like historic outfit for?
Yeah, so I guess like I don't know the history of all comics or whatever, but yeah, that's like an iconic look for her. Seems like that's like one of her first looks.
Okay.
And over time it changes. I mean, it's just like style changes over time. The same for Quicksilver. That's his iconic look.
Okay.
Like
yep,
originally.
I see. Okay, I just looked up Scarlet Witch, and yeah, that looks like that's what she's wearing. What did they say it was? Was this a Sokovian fortune teller?
Yeah, I think that was just like something in this world they wanted to relate it to. It's like, why would she wear that randomly?
Yeah, true.
It was just a way to like explain it.
Halloween's a good way, I think, for like fans of the comic and those who have followed her story to kind of get a good glimpse of like the original Wanda. So I thought that was cool. What the heck was Vision wearing? He was a Mexican wrestler?
Yeah, I mean, his if you look at like Vision in the comics, like you look at a picture of him, he looks goofy.
Is he?
Like yellow, green, purple, pink skin. And
What?
like in comics, like in the 60s, they didn't look like how comics
Ah.
today look like. They were way less detailed.
Okay, I
Like,
have to say he looks a lot cooler than he did. I guess it was a Halloween costume, so that's
yeah, it's
fair.
plus like
He
how would you
doesn't
make
look
that?
bad. It's colorful because like comic books were supposed to be colorful,
Yeah, no,
right?
yeah.
It
No,
looks
I
okay.
think that like the style that like if you're trying to recreate the 60s style in like some kind of like spandex costume, that's how it would look.
But yeah, I like how he's like chili con carne after she's like mucho gusto or mi
Yeah,
gusto, and I
yeah.
was dying. That was pretty funny actually. Um, and then I also like some of the comments that Pietro was like making at him.
Mm-hmm.
He was
Yeah.
like, "Are you a booger? Are you a
Yeah.
shuck corn?" And
Yeah.
a traffic light. That was my favorite. That
Traffic
was
light. Yeah, that's a
funny
good one.
because he had the green, yellow, and red. So that's his skin color. So yeah, I think Pietro was like a good addition. Like, I think he played the like funny uncle that's kind of careless and the kids
Mm-hmm.
love. Not quite the Uncle Jesse we wanted, but close
No.
enough, I thought.
No, he was a fun older brother.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of what it felt like. And what he made a comment too, right, in the episode that he's just here for like the Halloween special or something like that.
Yeah, so I thought maybe he won't be back. Yeah, he has to be back. His story's not done.
No, I think they're gonna keep him. That'd be interesting. Yeah. So back to the episode. So Vision actually in this episode, Wanda wanted him to come with her and the kids to go trick or treating because it's technically the twins' first Halloween. But Vision makes an excuse and says that he's going for what is it? He's going to be
Patrol,
a
some kind of
neighborhood patrol or
neighborhood
neighborhood
watch.
guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, neighborhood watch. And yeah, he kind of diverts from Wanda's story or Wanda's like intention of his role in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like Wanda notices, but she doesn't say anything and lets him go.
Yeah.
And that's when his kind of arc gets interesting. So I don't know if you wanted to talk about things that he discovered when he's wandering.
Yeah. So I mean, he goes like towards the edge of the city, kind of like he just
Alice Street.
yeah. So he's wandering
Alice
across
Avenue.
like near the border of the hex,
Mm-hmm.
and he finds like this lady who's just like like hanging clothes, but like she's repeatedly like putting the clip on and off, and
Yeah,
then
it looks like
and
she's
then
hanging
it kind of
decorations.
zooms in. Oh, maybe decorations, not
Yeah.
clothes. I was
Yeah.
thinking hanging laundry, but yeah, probably it makes more sense
More
with
sense.
the decorations. But like I didn't notice it the first time watching, but I saw it later on. Like I had it on my iPad,
Mhm.
and you see a little tear on her face as it's zooming in.
Yes.
I
Yep.
didn't notice that the first
I
time.
saw her
So
crying.
like
Right.
it shows that she's in pain.
Yeah. And we know like all of these people are in pain, right? Because
Yeah,
when Norm, or I forget his
yeah.
real name,
Norm's his
but
real name. No, it's not. Norman's a fake name.
Abe, something like that.
No.
But yeah, Norm is the fake name, and I remember when you could tell when Vision made him aware
Yeah.
of
Oh
what
yeah,
what was
he
going on. He
was
was not
worried.
happy, right? He was
No.
worried about his father, who seems
Mm-hmm.
to be sick.
Yeah.
So obviously, anyone who's held against their will are not going to be happy, right? You have no control over what you can do in your life. So yeah, that's probably what the tear. And it looks like people on the edge of the town are kind of frozen in time, almost, right?
I think it's like Wanda's powers have limits,
There,
and she can
yes,
only be controlling this many people at a time, or the magic is only affecting the closest to her right now, or
yeah,
whatever is being seen or broadcasted or so.
yeah, but I think the adverse effect of that is that the people on the outskirts of town have no lives for whatever many days this has been that Wanda's
Yeah.
been controlling Westview. Is that these people literally are frozen in time.
Yeah.
So the tier makes sense, right? They have no say in what they can do, and they're
Yeah.
barely moving, as Darcy was saying when they were watching the dots.
Yeah. So then the
Which we'll
real
get to
world
later.
they're observing the same thing, kind of like where Vision is going.
Yes.
And then we like later on, Vision sees that lady. Then he finds Agatha in her
Agnes.
car. Oh,
Agnes.
her name is actually Agatha,
Is it?
but we're all calling is Agnes because we saw online that she's based on a character named Agnes.
Oh, okay.
Her character in this is Agatha, I think. Pretty sure.
Okay. Is that from a comic book? From the comic book, or?
Well, people are assuming that she is Agnes, the witch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So we get to where like you see her kind of like on the edge, and she kind of has more. She's frozen, but she has a little more.
She's
energy.
talking more.
She has more. Yes, a little more power than the hanging step lady.
Yeah.
But Vision uses his awakening power or some sort. I don't really understand what that is. Power he has that he can wake people up. But he wakes her up, and like it pretty much goes like, "Why am I here? Or am I dead?" And because I guess everybody knows Vision is dead.
Vision's dead. Yeah. Well, she calls him, "You're the Avenger," and he's like, "What's an Avenger?"
Yeah. So his memory is wiped. So we got confirmation. Like,
yep.
Okay, this is like really he knows nothing past like post Avengers, like post Endgame. Like he knows since his death in Infinity War.
Happened. He doesn't even know he's dead, or technically he's not.
I mean, he might be.
We're not sure.
We're not sure.
Know. The show's good at that.
So it like it throws me off. Like, so is this Agatha? Is she something more than just a controlled person?
Yeah.
Is it not? I mean, she is a pretty prominent character. Like, she was even in that little intro scene to this episode.
Yeah.
Like, she's playing with the kids and stuff.
She's almost like the kid's aunt, right?
Yeah.
She was pretty prominent in the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
She's been pretty consistently important in almost all the episodes except the one where Monica was the prominent helper, right? And even that she, Agnes or Agatha or whatever her name is, she did make a pretty impactful cameo in that episode where she's like, we don't. She's the one who kind of indicated that they don't have control and that Wanda might potentially be controlling everybody. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not 100% sure what her deal is. I did find it really eerie. I think this is the first time when I thought it was kind of creepy where she just kept screaming, "Dead, dead, dead."
That reminded me of episode 1 when that 70s show lady, when the husband was choking and she started repeating something. I forgot what she said, but
she just said, "Oh, stop it, you! Oh, stop it!"
Yeah, exactly. They're broken, kind of like.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me like of a CD that's like broken and it kind of like just loops.
Right.
I mean, CDs are out of date now, but
I don't know.
Maybe a DVD.
Gen X people would understand that one. Yeah.
No, that gave us a lot of like information. That was like a big moment. That was a big moment. Like Vision knows that he is supposedly dead, and he's got like, I don't know, he's got some more investigation to do, which he does. So
he does.
We can come back to that because that's more near the end
of the episode. Yeah, because in this episode, what I think it was interesting that they kind of both went in their separate path. Wanda was with Pietro and the kids, and Vision is just kind of exploring the neighborhood, right? So one of the things that I found really interesting is that the kids, right, are now this town is filled with kids, right? Before the last episode, one thing Vision asks is, "Wanda, why are there no kids in this town?"
Yeah,
now all of a sudden there's kids all over the freaking place.
And Pietro points it out that's it's like,
where'd you get
these
kids?
Well, where'd you get these kids?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I love that they told us last time. We didn't think, if Vision didn't mention it, I wouldn't have thought about kids.
No, but I was thinking it this episode, right? Where I'm like, wow, it's weird that Vision, well, not weird, but it's probably intentional, the fact that Vision was thinking, how are there no kids here? And then the first thing in this episode is that there's kids running around everywhere. And I like that Pietro kind of points that out.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't answer him.
One thing I didn't like was when the last episode, they go to search for the dog. There was kids in the background there. There was a girl walking on the street, like the mailman, and then there was like another girl walking there.
Okay.
So I'm like, there was kids there, but not as many. Like some kids in the park.
Vision just didn't notice.
Yeah, I mean, Vision wasn't there at that time.
Yeah. Maybe when he walks through the
I mean, not as many as now.
Right. I mean, this whole street was filled with kids, right? So it was interesting.
It's just like another thing of like, Pietro is pointing things out, and it's
Yeah.
like he's like, "Oh, you called me here.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you wanted?"
Yes. It also, let's talk about their relationship a little bit because I thought it was interesting. It doesn't seem like Wanda fully trusts Pietro, right? Because she kept asking him things to verify, and they have different kind of stories. So, like in the beginning, right, when they're talking about Halloween, Pietro talks about a story of when they got sick and they spent Halloween in Sokovia a certain way. Right? Oh, like, you know, mom made us do X, Y, and Z. And she's like, well, I don't quite remember it like that.
Yeah.
Right? That's what
She's like,
Wanda
"Oh, you
says.
suppressed your memory."
And then that's what he says. He's like, oh, maybe you just suppressed your memory. So they have different memories, it seems like. And Wanda is kind of testing him. She only does it once or twice almost.
Yeah, I mean, she's testing it, and then they have the little flashback to like Sokovia and some
That
little
that was the first
area,
time when she
and
realized.
then they're dressed up as. Did you see who they're dressed up as?
I didn't know.
They're Nick Fury and Black Widow.
Get out! Really, I missed that.
Yeah, so it's like he has the eye patch, and like he's kind of like.
Oh, I did see the eye patch, and I did not put two and two together.
Yeah, so she has like the braided hair, and it's like,
Get
wait,
out.
so when were they young, and why was
Wait,
Nick Fury isn't famous?
But she did not look like Black Widow.
I mean, she just has a red ponytail. I mean,
Does Black Widow have a ponytail?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the movies, it's mostly like long hair or short hair.
She's the blonde and the red.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not them, but I've been seeing that people are saying that's
potentially them.
Yeah, but why would they know who Nick Fury and that was? That's kind of weird.
Unless it's a different timeline or a different universe that Pietro is coming from, because it's his story.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting to see. Yeah. She asks him why he looks different a little later on in the episode too. And he kind of puts the question back at her, right? She's like, you tell me. You wanted me here. You're the one who wanted me here to cause some havoc with the kids, make some issues with the brother-in-law. I don't know if Wanda would want that. So I go back to, I'm still debating whether this is fully her fault or not. Yeah. There's some clues that are pointing towards it might not fully being her fault, because even when Pietro asked her, right? And in this conversation, so they have a full-fledged conversation where she's kind of telling him, well, don't you think what I'm doing is wrong? So that checks off confirmation, right? That she is somehow involved in this. But when she goes to answer it, she almost says that she doesn't really remember. She just remembers being scared and this kind of forming.
So I think I have two thoughts. One is like she did it, but she's just like, it's such like dark magic that she honestly doesn't remember. Or the other side, there is an outside force that is making her do this.
Yes, I agree. So
it could be either of the two. It's where are they going? It's like, do they want to bring in a villain now, episode 7 into this?
Right.
Or maybe when we see the villain, we're going to be like, oh, look at all these clues we missed along the way.
Yes. It could just be someone that's already been a main character.
It's going to be that, most likely.
Me too. This kind of reminded me of like the second Harry Potter. You might get this reference because I think you read the second
Secrets,
one. Yeah, so you know how Harry's kind of thinking that he's hearing and he might, be the heir Slytherin, and he says that, what if I'm doing something without me being aware of doing it?
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's a story of witches, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Full circle. Magic. There we go. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm going or leaning more towards maybe the second thing you mentioned, where it's probably going to be one of the characters that we've been introduced to but aren't fully like suspecting, or maybe we are, and then we'll be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense because the X, Y, and Z happened and X, Y, and Z clues were left. So
yeah,
I think that's possible. And then not really too much happens with Pietro and the kids, right?
No, a lot. I mean, not a lot, like major plot points, but they could be where the kids gain their powers.
That's the other thing I was going to say, that Billy, I believe, is the speedster.
No, Billy has like similar powers to Wanda. And his comic name is Wiccan. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not familiar with them at all. Okay. And Tommy is Speed. His name is just Speed.
Oh, Tommy's the Speed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
And I don't know anything about them. They have comics. They are, I guess, part of the new Avengers, Young Avengers.
Okay.
Maybe in the future, maybe like 2027, 2025. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a Young Avengers or West Coast Avengers with them starring in there with like Hawkeye's
Yeah,
daughter.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
Different
right now
actors.
it's like, yeah, with older actors, newer
Yeah,
actors.
older actors. And these kids are a little too young, I feel like.
No,
They're
I
good,
wouldn't.
but
No, I mean, who knows what we're gonna see a few years from now?
true.
Like,
These kids are a little too
because
young,
like,
I feel like, to be
I mean, to
interesting.
see like, we're not gonna get Avengers movie like we did before,
No.
like the last four. Like that's the end of an era. Like
Yeah.
no more Iron Man, no more Captain
It
America.
also started up this whole MCU, so there's always going to be like a nostalgia tied
Yeah,
to it.
and it sucks. Like there's no Black Panther. Like Black
I
Panther would have
know.
been probably the lead of this new Avengers,
I
and I'm
think
sure they have to
so.
pivot for sure, like
A
storylines and
little
stuff.
bit. Yeah, a little bit. All right. So,
No, but these two kids, like the one Tommy is, I guess, similar to Quicksilver, and then the Billy is similar to Wanda. That
yeah.
is true. That is from stories that, like in the past, like she creates these kids with vision. Sometimes it's like, I don't know. It's fictional, so they change up how they have
Comic
kids.
books have, yeah.
Yeah, and then some people are like,
There's
oh,
only one
these.
way to have kids, right?
Well, not anymore. The world has
Not in
changed.
the not in the magical world of MCU, I guess.
Yeah. So
Okay.
whatever. I mean, she has these kids, and it's like, are these kids hers? Where are these kids? The same thing, I guess. Darcy asked before, and then Monica is like, no, they're definitely her real kids.
Yeah. The last
Like,
episode
so
they
there's
kind of
some
cleared that
magic
up.
going on, and it's like, then one thing, like I guess Quicksilver said, I guess been pointing out for everyone's like, okay, demon spawn, let's go steal this candy or something. And it's like, what are they talking about? Are these kids
He kept
evil or
calling
something?
them demon spawns the whole time. It was kind of funny. I don't know if it was
Yes.
just a gag or if it means
I
something.
feel like that might be related to like who this bad guy is, like something like he's planning like
He
some
impregnated
evil.
Wanda, you think? That'd be kind of
Possible.
freaky stuff. That is a lot.
That's reminding me of Kilgrave from Jessica Jones.
Oh my, yes. Oh my God. Yeah. What if he's, and the other thing I was thinking, I was like, what if the telepath or the telekinesis lady is getting mind controlled herself? What if this other guy is as powerful as Kilgrave? Maybe it is Kilgrave. Oh my God, that'd be cool. He is from the same
Kilgrave?
universe.
I mean, they're saying, I mean, anything is possible now. With this, like Quicksilver here, anything is possible.
That's true.
They can make it work.
They can make
I
it
mean,
work.
they can
Yeah.
make it work if they can make Daredevil canon.
Yeah.
I would be all for
I'm
it.
in. I'm in.
Give Daredevil his own Disney Plus show. Wilson Fisk. I mean, we had that. Netflix show was great.
It was. Yeah, I had no complaints with that.
Let's
I
put
think
those
all of
guys
them were great.
in Spider-Man.
They need to be in this universe because I feel like they can handle
They need to
themselves.
be Matt Murdock as Spider-Man's lawyer after Homecoming.
Oh
Like,
yes,
that's all it is.
yes, that'd be great. Get
Yeah,
Foggy in there. I mean, we can leave. What's her name? Karen.
Yeah, we can leave Karen.
We can leave Karen. Not a big fan of hers, but I did like Foggy and of course
Yeah,
Daredevil
Foggy was
himself.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, they should get him in there. Did you know, fun fact, just a quick, I think I was watching Daredevil not that long ago, the original movie with Ben Affleck.
Okay.
And I was telling you that Buddy, or Happy, I always mess up his name, John
I don't know.
Favreau.
Oh,
John
yeah.
Favreau's character,
It's not
John
Favreau.
Favreau is
Favreau.
John Favreau was in Daredevil as Foggy's character, equivalent to a Foggy character.
Is he?
He's always, yeah. If you want to look that up, if you don't believe me.
I'm looking it up right now.
No trust.
Oh, it comes up 2003.
Yeah, he's in there. I'm telling you.
Oh, he is Foggy. He's Foggy Nelson. Yeah.
There you go. See it.
Confirmed. Okay.
There you go. Yeah. So he's in Daredevil, which I think maybe that's what kind of started his fascination with.
Other fun fact: that
Marvel.
movie came out. I can't do the math in my head right now, but it seems like 18 years ago on this day, on February 14th, 2003.
It's Valentine's Day movie, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, we're filming or recording this on Valentine's Day, by the way, because we don't have a life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, okay, now let's get back to WandaVision.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked a little bit about Vision and his kind of exploring all of Westview and his interaction with Agnes. And then we also talked a little bit about Wanda trick-or-treating with Pietro and the kids, and Tommy getting his power as a speedster. Then let's move on to the real world.
Okay, yeah, we haven't talked about it at all.
We haven't talked about that at all. So one of the things that really stood out to me, well, first of all, the big thing that happened is the three like main people that we've been following in the real world, which is Monica, Darcy, and Jimmy, or Asian Jim. They are no longer in the good books of Sword. Hayward does not like them.
So I think this was a really great scene. I mean, there's so much stuff that goes on in this episode that I think is underrated.
Yeah.
Where Hayward calls out Monica for like, I'm actually glad you weren't here when your mom died because you can't handle this truth.
You can't. Yeah, he was
can't
kind
handle
of
this, and I was like, okay, I'm not a fan of Hayward, but okay, you called her out big time. And
also,
she
it's not fair
like,
because she's like, you can't use those 5 years to do whatever you want. It wasn't her fault that she wasn't there.
Well,
this wasn't her choice.
It's just he's being anti-superhero or anti-powered people.
He's helping us hate him more.
Yeah, I mean, so I feel like he is going to be a big key factor in like one of the major people that are like anti-superhero, anti-X-Men, which is like the main storyline for a lot of X-Men story. There is some kind of political figure that's like anti-powered X gene person. And I feel like this is like the first sign of like, all right, he's not a fan of Captain Marvel. He's not a fan of Wanda. He's not a fan of the Avengers. I mean, it's similar to like what we did in Civil War with the Soviet Accords.
Right.
And I think there's more to this guy for sure, which we're gonna see now that like the three escaped. They left. I guess they're not working with Shield. They're like
Sword.
Sword, yeah. They're on the sideline. I guess they're hiding, and then Darcy is left behind, of course.
Well, yeah. Before that, there's one more scene of Darcy talking.
Okay, yeah.
So that was where she's talking to Monica, who is now they've separated. They kind of hack one of the computers, and one thing they noticed is that Hayward is tracking Vision.
Yeah.
Right. That was a big thing, and you had a theory which I want to talk about later. But the other thing that conversation kind of leads into is Monica saying, I want to go back in and save Wanda. So we've seen in the last few episodes that Monica is on Wanda's side. She doesn't think whatever she's doing is ill intent. I think she understands where Wanda is coming from. So she wants to save Wanda. So she says she's going to go back into the Hex. She doesn't mind, right? If she has to go back, and we see Darcy saying that, hey, have you seen your blood results? It seems like it's changing you a bit. And it didn't sound like it was a good thing, but they didn't really go too deep into it because Monica just kind of wrote it off. Yeah. She's like, I've seen enough blood results. I've seen what, I guess with her mom's cancer. She's like, I don't need to know more. I'm going to do what I need to do. So that was kind of an interesting indication to maybe Monica having powers later on, or somehow just being less human and more maybe meta-human, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, so I think definitely like this Hex is going to be something that causes people with more powers. So I was going to get to this at the end, but we could talk about it now. About what are your theories about what this Hex will do to the people living in this world? Like the outcome.
It's going to drive them crazy, clearly. Some of them. I think some of them it's not going to be a good effect. But maybe others will have some. I can't even guess what type of powers they would have.
So I think it's kind of like maybe in Flash with the particle accelerator, where this will be a new generation of people with powers.
Okay.
Or they're just like something, I guess, that like Wanda, did she get her powers from just the stone, or did she have the powers all along?
So maybe some of her stone powers might transfer.
So I think what was I think not clear, but like through Civil War and like Winter Soldier post-credit scenes, it seems like that they had their powers before the stone. and then Strucker just amplified, I guess,
Amplified her
Quicksilver
power.
and her
Yeah.
powers like to the max. That's why she's so powerful. Similar to Captain Marvel, her power when she is normal human or alien human, and then she
She's
just became super
human.
powered.
Yeah,
She's
because of
human.
the stone. She got her powers because of the stone as well.
So I think now that this hex is created by Wanda, maybe she's spreading powers through everyone.
Damn, I need more mineral in my diet. All these people are turning into super mega human beings.
Or maybe just people who are crossing the lines between the hex. Like,
it's not really clear, but there is some weird indication that some of these people are going to be at least somewhat powerful.
I mean, maybe not everyone, but a few people will get it. Or whoever has some kind of genes that something like in Flash that happened.
Right. Not everybody who was exposed.
Not everybody was exposed that gets it. But I guess the show was like it kept going seasons and seasons, and then later on in one season they were like, oh, by the way, these are all these people that also were affected the first time but didn't get activated till some other event happened.
Yeah.
So I feel like something like this is like, oh, all these people, certain people in this hex had powers, but they weren't activated till they got in contact with like Wanda
with whatever this power is. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I could see that. I mean, so like you said,
that could be a way to introduce the X-Men. Like,
yeah.
But Quicksilver already being there is like such a. Like,
I was just gonna say, I feel like the X-Men have already, with him being there, if he is that same guy, which I'm guessing he is, I think they've already introduced X-Men. I think they know that people who are watching it put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah, it's so many different things that could happen.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I think that his entry into this world has opened up a lot. And I remember when we were trying to avoid the spoilers before the last episode, the first thing we read was a guest appearance that's going to change the MCU and its future. And this has definitely done that. And now we're questioning how everything plays into the X-Men, how they're going to take all of this into maybe potentially the multi-universe or multiverse. I don't know if they call that or if that's a DC coin term.
No, multiverse is fine. I mean, Spider-Man, which was kind of disappointing. Where Spider-Man, the first, like the trailers were all like, "Oh, we're Earth 616, and I'm here from another Earth." Like, Jake Gyllenhaal's character Mysterio, just like the coolest suit ever in an MC. That's the coolest looking villain.
I did like his, yeah. It's all fake.
Yeah, it's all fake. But that like shot down multiverse thing and all the research that like Nick Fury is doing, which is like, what? That's disappointing. There is an MC multiverse, but now like the next MCU thing is like, oh wait, there is maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's strange.
Yeah, it's all. It's all.
I mean, there definitely will be. I think there definitely will be a multiverse situation happening.
Oh,
with
easily.
Doctor Strange coming.
Doctor Strange, definitely, and he's got enough powers to kind of have that storyline tied into his. So I'm excited for that. I think that's going to be one of the best ones. I don't want to get my hopes up, but MCU usually matches them.
Yeah. So I mean, I want to go back to Hayward now.
Yes.
Where we see Darcy has hacked his computer and she finds that he is tracking vibranium decay, which is Vision's body.
Big thing.
And now my theory is that he is Ultron or is working for Ultron. And he's looking to, I guess, take over like Vision's body one day.
Yeah, I really like that theory. I think that's a really big possibility. Otherwise, I mean, I guess Vision is interesting enough to track because he was dead and now he isn't anymore. So I would be interested in that. But I like your theory of him maybe working for Ultron or he is potentially Ultron. I like the first one more. That would tie in really nicely because Scarlet Witch's story is so tied to Ultron. That's kind of when we first see them. So
I think like you'd never believe the casting things on Google or IMDb, but like there is the thing that says like James Spader Ultron voice for, doesn't say how many episodes, but it's there listed, and it's like, is that real or is that just speculation? Who knows who's inputting this? Like,
That's true. It's usually fan
Yeah,
input,
fan
right?
input. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
I
know.
mean, there's a lot. Like, so we have 3 episodes left. And the new rumor that came out this morning or last night, Kevin Feige confirmed that the next 3 episodes, are hour long
Hour
each.
long, right? Because it's 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the extended time because the one complaint I had, besides them not releasing everything at once, which I recant that one because I am enjoying seeing it this way because it gives us time to kind of theorize and kind of re-notice and rewatch the episodes. But one thing I'm excited about is an extended time because the 30-minute episodes are so short. It is absolutely painful to wait a whole week after literally, it's like almost having a small bite of a full slice of cake in front of you.
Yeah.
It is not easy. It's so not easy.
I mean,
I've
I would
not watched
definitely
TV like
not
this since high
appreciate
school.
this show if it was bingeable.
Yeah, I don't think I would not appreciate it, but I have a new
100% would
appreciation.
not.
I have a new appreciation watching TV like this because I haven't done it since high school. So
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Streaming has taken over.
And that's been like 15 years.
Yeah.
No, maybe that's an exaggeration.
Like 10 years now.
Maybe 10 years. A little bit over 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
no, so, like 3 episodes, maybe an hour each, maybe 10 minutes of credits now. Extended credits. I don't know.
I hope not. I don't want it just to be 40 minutes because that's not enough. Give me
I imagine it'll be like 45, 50 minutes.
I would think 50 at least. 50 is fine. I can do 50. 10 more minutes is good enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's... So there's a lot. It's like, will they introduce a new, like, villain for Wanda that's, like, controlling her? Then there's, like, a villain for Vision, which would be Ultron return. Because as Ultron is defeated by Vision.
Yeah, predominantly it was his. He's the reason
he
why
used the Mind Stone to destroy the last one.
I really like that Ultron theory now.
Was there one bit of code that was left out somewhere that he can repurpose himself?
Yeah,
possible.
I mean, computers are freaking crazy in the MCU, so yeah, it's possible.
Vision I mean, there is like a Avengers cartoon that came out like in 2012, I think. And it pretty much followed the MCU pretty much. Like, it was close. Like, the major plot points that like the MCU is doing, it also follows, and it gets to like where Thanos is there, and then instead of going the way this goes with the snap and stuff, Ultron actually comes back, and he becomes like even bigger than Thanos, which is like, it's kind of crazy. All right, like Ultron gets the Infinity Gauntlet instead of Thanos. Or something like that happens.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's not going to happen, but I'm interested.
I don't think they'll do the gauntlet again.
No, they're over that.
But if I do like the theory of Ultron coming back, because I feel like that pull her story like full circle, which I do like that. That would be good. All right, so there's also one more thing that I was really excited about. Or not excited, but like kind of got a giggle out of me, was the Kick-Ass reference.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So when I watched it with my sister, which I usually do, and she didn't recognize that. And I started laughing because I was like, I knew they were both in the movie together. So Evan Peters, who's Pietro in WandaVision, and Aaron Taylor Johnson, who was Pietro in Ultron, they were both in a movie about not superheroes, but vigilantes called Kick-Ass. And they had to wear costumes and all this stuff. So I just really like the fact that they did a reference to it. I don't know if it was intentional.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
It was? Okay. Yeah. But it was a good like giggle. It got a good giggle out of me.
Yeah, no, I thought it was funny. I thought it was a great, like, they can be wacky about stuff. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, Pietro being in this, they can be extra wacky.
I agree. And then Evan Peters, to his credit, did a really good job kind of being like he was kind of like the funny in the episode, right? He kind of had the humor.
Yeah, for sure.
And this was a really heavy episode, and we'll talk about the last half of the episode, which was kind of crazy. But he kind of kept the episode nice and light. There was a tension looming over it, with Vision going separate, finding Agnes, and realizing, these people are being mind controlled officially. and he passes Ellis Ave, and then we're going to talk a little bit about that. But Evan Peters did a really good job kind of bringing in the funnies this episode, I thought.
Since we're talking about Evan Peters, when's the first time you've seen him in anything?
American Horror Story. I saw the first season.
Well, he was in Phil of the Future.
No, oh yes, he was the weird guy in Phil of the Future.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw somebody post a video of that this week or yesterday, and I was like, yes, this is where I know him from.
Wasn't he trying to talk to aliens or something in Phil of the
Probably,
Future?
yeah.
He was weird in the show, but
that show was weird, but I did enjoy it.
I love that show.
No.
It was back in the day when Disney was just having 8 o'clock DComs and all these shows premiering, and it was good.
Well, now they got these MCU, so.
Yes, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, their sitcoms are not that great, but for kids. But I guess we can't relate anymore.
No, but I thought that was funny. Just as like, he's been doing Disney stuff for a long time.
Since he began acting, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's like his earliest, like one of his early acting careers.
I remember seeing him in Phil, and I remember looking it up too. Not because of Disney, just when I was watching American Horror Story.
Yeah.
But I didn't connect that for this podcast. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, small tidbit. So you want to do, before we get to the ending, there was Darcy stays behind and Jimmy Woo and Monica Rambeau split up.
Yes.
To go to meet the astronomer.
That's right. We have
astronomer, right?
Astronomer.
Some kind of scientist.
Astrophysicist? No, that's what Darcy is, right?
Yeah.
Who knows where they went to find some scientists.
Yeah.
Which we are theorizing.
Who's your theory?
Timothy, official. Caucasian Timothy.
So you're saying it's going to be John Krasinski?
Oh, I freaking hope so. And I texted you this when we both realized that they're going to find this. And okay, by the way, next week's episode potentially can be 2010s, right? Yeah. So they did say that they might do like an office type episode.
Yeah.
So what better episode to, introduce Jimothy? I don't know if there's any better episode. He's got to come in as a scientist and someone say something stupid, and he got to give the look to the camera. And if they don't do this, I don't know. I might just have to take 2-3 days off just to cry a little bit. That's a big dream of mine. I really want this to happen.
No, I think ever since we heard about the show and we're sitcom and we're like, and then I guess there's some interview and they're like, oh, we're going all the way to like Modern Family and The Office even.
Yeah.
And it was like, how would they even do that? And at the time, I didn't know anything about Sword. Yeah. So I was like, oh, maybe they'll have an office. I mean, they have an office with Norm, like wherever Vision works, that's an office.
Yeah.
So maybe they could get, I was thinking originally they'd get like Jimmy Woo stuck in the X, and then he would be Jim and stare at the camera. Another reference to like his Asian Jim moment.
Yeah.
And it could happen. But then like John Krasinski would play Richard Reed. That's the rumor. Like introduce the Fantastic Four.
He would be Mr. Fantastic, right?
Before his powers, yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe this will be how he gets his powers.
And people have been bugging him about this, and he's been mum, right? He's not denying the rumor. And we know he tried out for Captain America, so he's got some kind of affiliation with the MCU.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that, like, people love Jim from The Office. He's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, he's huge right now.
He's been ever since, like, even before.
Well, he did The Quiet Place.
The Quiet Place.
That made him even huge, right? Even bigger than The Office.
Huge. He's he was up for an Oscar for that, or a Golden Globe. Like he's
making a second one, I think. Or is that out already?
It's been out, I believe.
Second one's out. Okay.
Oh, I believe so.
That means he has more time to do WandaVision.
And he doesn't need to have a big cameo, right?
No, he could just explain to them about some new material that can go through the hex without decaying. I think that's what they're looking for.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. The Quiet Place, I don't think was released. I think they're going to be releasing it this year, but they were done and maybe ready to release last year. I don't know. With quarantine, I'm not sure. Yeah. Right. I think it'd be so good if they just had Jim.
Something to disappoint you with, my new theory. which also relates to the end of the episode.
Okay.
So we'll get to the end of the episode, and I'm going to disappoint you.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the end first?
Yes, we'll talk about the end. So
Okay, go
here we're
ahead.
going to loop back to Vision. He's on Ellis Street, and he's like, "What's that suspicious little barrier thing?"
Yes,
I think
and
he
by the
tries to
way, before he even gets there, there's a scene where Wanda's telling the kids not to go past Ellis
Yeah.
Street, right? Because the
Yeah,
kids are
'cause he
kind of
got
going
super
off on their
speed.
own. Right. Okay. So back to Vision.
I do like they're stealing all the candy from everywhere, and then
Putting some
the
Easter
black
egg.
friend
Yes.
neighbor is like, he gets reports like, "Oh, candy is missing everywhere, and jack lanterns are smashed, and
As
this
they're doing
and that,"
it.
as they're doing. It was
Yeah,
great.
that
That was
was
a great
great.
scene,
That was really good.
and that's what also Wanda. She's like, "Oh, isn't Vision helping you out with the patrol?" And he's like, "He's not working today." So she's kind of like in her head, like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, she
But she's
realizes
like, "Oh,
that.
whatever, that's nothing." Or
Yeah, that's
she is, or she's not. I don't know.
yes. Oh, also, okay, so let's go to the end because that's like a good 4 minutes of action packed. Like not action packed, but like a lot of story happening.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Since I'm excited, I guess I'll take it. So basically, Vision passes the barrier and he is trying to get out and kind of going out of the hex. And he's dead, so he can't live outside the hex. And we notice that because as he's walking out, he is disappearing, almost kind of like the snap.
Is that what's happening?
That's kind of how I took it. It kind of looked like he was like missing pieces and kind of slowly disappearing.
I think he's just not powerful enough to break the barrier.
Could be, yeah. But
I think he is alive. He can be alive in the real world. Whatever she's done to him to wake him up,
you think
he will
he'll
be able to
translate?
exist.
Yeah.
But she doesn't want him to leave this hex portal.
Right.
So
And he
she
does
is
die.
destroying him.
He dies.
But she kills him in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Well, she destroys the stone, so she's that powerful.
Yep. She's very powerful.
So I think this barrier is strong enough to destroy his vibranium skin. So him trying to pass through will restrict him.
Right. Okay. But either way, I think he died at the end of this episode, right?
No,
like
he
was laying and he was dying at least.
I think he's hurt, but I don't think he's dead.
I think he's dead. Or at least I think that he was close to dying.
Like he was close to dying if he kept going. I don't think he would have broke the barrier. I think he would just disintegrated.
He would have died. Yeah, he would have absolutely died. And he kind of did get outside the barrier.
Oh, he was out of it, but like there was just a red glow around him, and then the SWORD agents all come rushing out, and he got to communicate to them that like help these people, which shows like Vision's character. He's like, don't help me, help the people that are here.
Yes. Well, he's like, also
Vision is still Vision.
Yeah, he's also still a computer, so he wouldn't have the human like need to survive and selfishness. I guess that's just not part of his program. But yeah. I do like that the first thing he said is like they need help, right?
Yeah.
Because like you said, Vision's still Vision. And this was a big reveal in Billy's powers, right? That's when we realized that Billy got what Wanda has, right? Because he says, Dad's dying. I hear him. So he goes straight to his mom and he tells her, he's like, I hear him. And, I see like a bunch of soldiers. Yeah. And then Pietro makes an offhand comment, right? He's still doing his funny because that's his character. And he goes, it's not like your dead husband can die again. Yeah. And she blasts him, right? Like she doesn't care. She's already suspicious of this guy. She's not 100% there. And in the end, you kind of see them almost being normal brother and sister because Pietro kind of says, whatever you're doing, I'm not going to judge you on it. But as soon as he says something bad about her husband, who is probably the reason why she's doing all of this, right? Having her person back to her, she loses it. That's it. He's gone. She blasts him, and I don't know. I'm guessing he's okay. I don't think anything's wrong with him, but it just kind of indicated
super recovery, I think.
Yeah, but it kind of indicated that okay, he's not above saying whatever he wants. This is still Wanda's world, and
actually, one thing we missed, there is another scene of them like together, and then like there's a flash of him with the bullet holes, and it's like, okay, so he's fake. He's not a real person.
But she did that with Vision too, in a couple of episodes where she saw him.
Vision is gonna eventually probably be dead again, right?
Yeah, it's very confusing.
I don't think he'll survive after this unless he's like brought back as like a new android or a new synthesoid, whatever.
Yeah, maybe not by Wanda. Maybe someone else can bring him back.
Or just the stone in general. I mean,
who knows where that stone is? I'm still so confused about all of that. I have no clue. I'm just like, whatever you say, I'm like, yeah, okay, that sounds good to me. I'm
gonna just go with it for now. I mean, I don't want to like disprove it. Let's like, why ruin the like this thing till we know all the information? It's like when it's at the end and it's like, oh, that makes no sense why he's alive. Then I can question it. But right now, I'm like, let them tell me the story.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. Yeah, so the other thing is, right, so because he's dying and now Wanda knows because Billy had told her, right? This is a badass freaking moment in the show where she just goes back into her Scarlet Witch mode, right? Her eyes are glowing and she's now expanding the hex. And she's taking Vision back in, right? The first thing she did, right? She's expanded and she took all the soldiers in where they had the camp set up and they turned it into a circus.
Yes,
right. Everything turned into right. That was really funny. It was weird, but I did kind of have a little bit of a chuckle there too. And now I don't know if you had a clear vision of what happened. I don't know if Hayworth got sucked in or not. We know Darcy definitely did, right? Because what happens is Darcy goes and she screams when she sees that Vision's dying when he's coming out of the hex, and they grab her and they kind of tie her into one of the
they handcuffed her to a car.
They handcuff her, yeah. So she can't move. So when the hex is expanding, she gets sucked in for sure.
Yeah.
We don't know if that happened with Hayworth and Monica.
No, I think he's out. Jimmy. He's outside.
He's clearly outside. Monica and them.
I think he has a little call thing where he calls out to the other cop cars or other soldiers, and no one's responding. So it seems like his one car escaped, and then Jimmy Woo was already outside. Way out. But she, I guess, took over a big piece of land.
Yes, and this was, I was like, oh my God, she is so, like, everyone keeps telling us that she's the most powerful Avenger. I believe it after this episode. I thought that was cool. It was interesting to see her actually expand the whole universe, expand her hex beyond the parameters of Westview. That sign gets sucked back into.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. All right. And then the last thing that happened in the show is we're not sure if they are sucked in, right?
Well, I think both those two cars, like Jimmy Woo's car is safe and Hayward's car is safe. But Darcy is captured, and which is where we're going to get to your disappointment right now.
Why?
What show is Darcy famous for?
Darcy?
Darcy's at Kat Dennings. What show is Darcy famous for?
The one where they're waitresses.
Two Broke Girls.
Yes.
Sitcom.
Oh, they're not doing that sitcom, are they?
It has to be.
But that's not even that popular.
It was huge. I think it was pretty.
Was it? I've never seen it.
I've never seen it, but it went on from like 2011 to like 2017 or 18, and it seems like we're getting that instead of The Office or Modern Family.
But how would they do Modern Family?
But who knows? Who knows? I mean, they have 3 episodes.
Is this a fan theory? Is this a fan theory, or is this something?
This is a me theory because.
Oh, this is a you theory.
Kat Dennings is sucked into the hex. And it's like, why her? Why is she being there other than to be like a cool, like, oh, she used to be this character there, so.
But the thing is, that's not like a defined show.
No,
that didn't define a generation. Modern Family, The Office, that like defined us and our TV watching habits.
Yeah, I mean, no, definitely not. I mean, there's like How I Met Your Mother. I don't know if that's a sitcom. Yeah, somewhat. Modern.
That counts, yeah.
Modern version of a sitcom. I mean, they have limited episodes. How many sitcoms can they cover? The Office is a hard one. It's like if they had more of an office with Vision's workplace, and they could give somebody like the boss to be like a Michael Scott or something, or like
Vision would be Michael Scott.
I mean, Vision would be Jim. I mean,
She could be Pam.
Or
Okay,
he
I
could
can
be
see
Dwight, maybe. He's a robot.
that. I really hope they don't do
Oh, we have
two.
3 episodes. Will we have 3 more sitcom episodes?
It's Two Broke Girls, right? That's what it's
Yeah.
called?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I say that wrong before? Maybe I did. I don't know.
I just know she was a waitress. This is my guess that it's what it's
Yeah.
called. I'm not 100% sure. Or something bitch in apartment 24. I don't even know the name, honestly. I'm not 100% sure. I've seen a couple
Are
of
you
episodes.
referencing Jessica Jones?
Oh, is that her?
Yeah, that's Jessica Jones, and that's a movie.
Okay, I'm gonna look this up. Bitch in apartment something.
That's Kristen Ritter, writer.
Don't Trust the Bitch in Apartment 23. And that was a Teen Choice Award TV villain. What?
That's a movie.
It's a movie?
That was a movie.
I thought it was a show. I don't know. I'm clicking on it now. All right, we're going way off base now. No, it was a show. I hope not. I hope you're wrong. I hope you're the wrongest you've ever been. And I hope we get Jim as Mr. Fantastic and doing his Jim look in the office. And I won't accept anything less.
I have another theory. Well, this one I didn't see.
Okay.
This one I saw. It's not my own.
Okay.
Captain Marvel related. So in Captain Marvel, there is a character named Talos, and he is, I guess, takes over the role as Nick Fury in the world.
Okay.
And supposedly he has a son or something in the comics, and he is an astrophysicist.
Okay.
And a lot of people are saying his son
might be it,
because I guess like Talos lived with or worked with like Maria Rambeau and stuff, and
that's probably more
Monica
likely.
was there, and it's like, yeah, that sounds more reasonable. Kind of disappointing, but
I think that might be.
That sounds more reasonable.
That's more reasonable. It might be harder to tie in. Dang it! Yeah, you've disappointed me. Yeah. You very much disappointed me.
2 disappointments.
Well, he's an electrical engineer. Cool.
Oh, he's not an astrophysicist.
He is. He's a mechanical astrospace and electrical engineer, chemistry and all levels of physics and human and alien biology. Oh my god, so he's like a super genius. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, so they could have him and not Richard Reed's the smartest person in the world.
Oh, I was talking about Richard Reed's.
Oh, you didn't look up who Talos' son is.
Yeah, let me look up Talos.
I actually didn't look it up, so I don't know.
We're doing this on the fly. Give me Thanos. No, it's not coming up for me. All right. Well, we'll be surprised.
Maybe there is no Talos' son, and I'm just imagining it.
I hope so. I really freaking hope so. I don't like this. You've busted my fan bubble.
I mean, there's way too many theories. I think this show really blew up since episode 4 and 5.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
It's taken over the internet.
Everyone's joining the bandwagon.
And I really feel like people love Jimmy Woo. That is like
he's good.
I don't know why, like he's not the coolest character, best character, but he's definitely like a standout on the internet. Like people love Jimmy Woo for some reason. Maybe because the Asian Jim reference, maybe because he was in the interview with James Franco. He was
he's done a lot of like.
He's in Aquaman as like a news reporter, I think.
Really? Oh my god, I did not know.
Fresh off the boat, I guess he had an NBC show for a couple seasons. I watched like maybe 2 of those. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I've not seen all of it, but I've seen bits and pieces of it as well. And he's a standout in that.
Yeah, I mean,
that show as well.
Yeah, I mean, then he's Ant-Man role, so.
Oh yes.
People like Jimmy Woo I see on the internet.
And his reference to the Ant-Man role, that blew up on the internet too with the card trick.
Yeah, the card trick. Yeah.
And I didn't even notice that till you pointed it out. So. Yeah. All right. Did we miss anything big? I feel like there was a lot of things that happened in this episode, and I don't know.
I'm sure we missed something.
I'm sure too.
There's What do you think? Do you think Pietro will be back next episode?
Yes.
Or is that he's poofed out of here with that blast like Wanda, Monica?
I hope he'll be back just because I want to hear more about X-Men. Didn't really cover that in this episode. It was just mainly him sort of following Wanda around and kind of messing it around. His, like I said before, his role was kind of comic relief in this episode more than just adding to the story. There's a little bits and pieces here where we realize that he's possibly not the same Pietro that Wanda grew up with, which we obviously know, but I wanted there to be more references to like X-Men, or maybe just one reference to the X-Men, but there wasn't any, not that I caught at least anyway.
No, I don't think there's any.
Yeah.
I mean, I want answers. We got no answers about
No,
is
there's
he
more
this
questions.
Days of Future Past X-Men one?
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, give us the answer. We don't want to wait. I mean, will the show get us the answer? Probably not. I feel like
probably not. I think it's
we're
gonna go
so early on to like maybe we have to wait till Doctor Strange next May.
I think this will be more of a setup for Doctor Strange than anything else. So a little bit disappointed on his arc. Not that his role in the show was, you know, it was disappointing more than bad. Like just because I did enjoy his actual arc or actual role in the show or the episode itself, but I think he needs to come back so that we get a more full-fledged story of how the X-Men possibly ties into this.
Yeah.
Or maybe it won't. Maybe WandaVision is not, you know, touching that yet.
I mean, it would be cool if we get everything we want. We get some X-Men answers and we get some Fantastic Four first leads.
Yeah. Also, the other weird thing is now if they go into 2010, they're done with all the sitcoms. So what are the other 2 episodes going to be? Just mainly story and sword?
I hope not. I like the sitcom stuff.
Me too. It kind of grew on me.
I think this episode actually had, like, when they're in the Halloween town, it almost gave me a Stranger Things vibe a bit.
A little bit.
Spooky.
With the
and I was
little
like,
kids.
That's 80s. It's 80s.
We already did the 80s.
I know.
Lots can happen. Lots is unanswered. Lots more questions that arise every time we watch an episode. And I just get more and more confused, but more and more excited.
Yeah.
And now I'm more excited. Yes.
Not only are we getting more MCU moved to TV shows this year?
Yeah.
You know we're getting 4 movies this year if things plan out.
Well, I hope so.
I didn't know that. I didn't know we're getting 4 movies this year.
So it's Black Widow, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange.
No,
right? That's next year.
No, Thor? We're getting Shang-Chi on July 9th.
That's right.
That's filmed and ready, apparently.
What?
That's crazy. So Black Widow is May 7th. Shang-Chi is July 9th. The Eternals is November 5th. And Spider-Man is December 17th.
Oh, Spider-Man, yeah.
I'm like, we're getting 4 MCU movies.
Spider-Man is already going to release?
They're still filming it right now, so I'm surprised.
Yeah, that's why.
And Sony delayed all their other movie plans. So it's strange. Like, this is the last one left for this year.
Okay. Interesting. 4 movies. All right. I'm excited. Listen, we got no movies last year, so let's go.
Yeah, we're nonstop, like MCU every week. MCU
drowning
Fridays.
in Disney.
Yeah. So I mean, I would be so happy these actually come out in theaters. Would be good to watch. But
let's hope everyone gets vaccinated.
If not, I hope they do the Premier Access thing, because they were questioned, I got this week, about Kevin Feige or somebody. It's like, oh, are we gonna still do this in theaters, Black Widow? And he's like, we're aiming for it. But he's like, we are ready to pivot if needed.
If needed. So maybe they have a better plan to do an online release.
Yeah, who knows? But I'm excited for the MCU.
Me too. Can't wait. All right. That's all I had to add. Is there anything else you wanted to add? MCU news? More theories of WandaVision?
No, I was just excited for this 4 new movies and then 4 shows still coming this year.
Can't wait. I'm excited for Falcon and Captain America. Or Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Comes out March 19th.
Yeah.
March 18th. We got something else coming out.
What?
The Snyder Cut.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, more disappointment. 4 hours. We're getting 4 hours right away. That's what you want, right? Something to binge.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm gonna binge that. I'm not hating, because I think the Snyder Cut's probably better than the original movie.
I saw the trailer. I don't know. I saw Jared Leto's back.
Oh, not a fan of him.
I like Jared Leto. I just don't think he's a good Joker.
I I've
No,
not
I
seen
mean,
him in anything. I've only seen him in bits and pieces as a Joker, and he was not good. He had a
yeah.
grill. Come on, man. What the heck is
No,
that?
he has no grill. He has long hair. It's no tattoos.
Weirdo.
He looks like I, I don't know. It looks like a mix between the other two Jokers.
Phoenix and Ledger.
Ledger, maybe a little bit. I don't know. The trailer was like it's not widescreen. It's like IMAX format, so it's not like full. If you watch the trailer, if you just watch the trailer, it's weird.
Okay, I gotta do that. I think I watched a bit and pieces of it, but I don't remember what the heck happened. There was some guy sliding somewhere. That's all I remember.
Okay, that's enough DC talk then.
That's it. I think we're gonna end our podcast on this episode being really good but really confusing, and hopefully the next 3 are going to be more of a reveal rather than a setup, because most of this has been a setup, mainly setup, and a little bit of information on the main MCU. So I'm excited.
Yes, me too. Can't wait for more.
Yeah, let's go MCU Fridays.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.